Hi. Joining me to discuss is the Vice President for Federal Affairs at the National Taxpayers Union. That would be Tommy Aiello. Tommy, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, what is your assessment here in terms of the gas price? And I ask this question because sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. Yes, it is a pain at the pump for many people. People are suffering, but you have to take into account why, what the impetus, what the motivation for the current situation is.
Yeah, you don't need to be an economist or a political scientist to recognize that this is a real problem both for people and for the Republican Party, right? Republicans, we are the pro-energy party. That's why we had 5-year low gas prices just a few months ago, thanks to President Trump's policies of rolling back regulatory burdens, lower taxes, and then encouraging investment in oil and gas. Now, the conflict in Iran shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Once we get that open, once that ship traffic can go through with oil and gas, we're going to see prices decline just as quickly as they came up.
You know, we often hear from the administration that the U.S. has more than enough oil to go around. Why haven't we been able to profit from this situation then in terms of selling our oil on the global market?
Well, we are. We're actually exporting a record number of oil and natural gas. That's great news for places like Texas and Louisiana and New Mexico, right? These are the oil and gas producing states, and it's creating so much tax revenue for those states. Now, we might be saying, well, why are we exporting it if we could just keep it here in the United States? We used to do that, actually, and gas prices adjusted for inflation were much higher. We can't go back to the days where we didn't export oil. It was economically devastating. It hurt our communities and it hurt drivers. We can't go back to those days.
In the break, you were telling me the Democrats are trying to tax some of these oil companies who are making massive profits on oil. Explain what's going on.
You know, Democrats, they just want to try and tax everything. Their latest proposal is called a Windfall profits tax. They want to put a 50% tax rate on oil and gas companies for selling oil when it's higher than it was a year ago. That's just ludicrous. It's a ridiculous idea. It's going to discourage investment. It's going to raise prices. We need oil and gas producers to produce here in America, which they're doing. If we tax them out of existence, they're going to go out of existence. That means no oil, less oil for people to use and to drive their cars. Now, they say oil companies are greedy. It's just ridiculous. Oil is a globally traded commodity. It's going to impact prices everywhere. And the state of California makes more money on a gallon of gas than Chevron does, which is just absolutely silly.
But the reality is there are so many Americans. I mean, when you go to the pump and if you're in California, you're paying $7, $8. While most of us don't know the intricacies, most of us know that there is pain at the pump. It just doesn't feel good to dish out all that cash.
No, it doesn't. And that's why we need real solutions to lower the cost of gas. Obviously, the biggest thing is getting the Strait of Hormuz open, but we should also look at reducing regulatory burdens. It takes about 4 years to build an oil well in the United States. That's ridiculous. We need permitting reform. Congressman Evans, who you had on earlier, said it perfectly. The more roadblocks the government puts in place, the more discouragement of private sector investment into the oil and gas industry exists. We need to roll back those regulatory burdens, roll back those higher taxes, and encourage businesses to invest in the United States. That's how we bring down gas prices.
Tommy, we'll have to leave it there. Always good to talk to you, my friend. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.